Open your eyes. Wake up, Link.
Welcome to my video review for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. Right out of the way, this is the best Zelda game ever made. It's the best game Nintendo has made in years, if not decades, possibly ever, and it's one of the greatest video games of all time. Enjoy my review. The story in this game is set in the magical, mythical kingdom of Hyrule. Now, Link, the main character who you play as in this game, has been asleep for 100 years and doesn't really remember anything. All that Link is told is that an evil known as Calamity Ganon has basically laid waste to the kingdom of Hyrule, destroying pretty much anything. And a mysterious voice tells Link that he basically needs to venture out and save the land of Hyrule from this great evil. And throughout the game, basically you uncover different aspects of the story, but you can do it in any order you want. And it's pretty ingeniously told. I don't want to spoil it too much, but no matter what order you do the story in, it still makes a lot of sense. Plus, the fact that voice acting is finally introduced to the Zelda series, I think is just terrific. Because I've wanted voice acting for Zelda for quite some time now, and I have to say the voice acting in this game is really solid, and it really makes some of the really pivotal, like hard-hitting story moments all the more just emotional and just fun to watch. And the story itself, I think, might be the best that Zelda has ever had, or that Nintendo's really ever had. This game is probably one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful games I have ever seen. As a gamer, since I live in the real world, when it comes to video games, I much prefer a more stylized, fantastical, and whimsical look. And this game does that perfectly. It has a beautiful, sort of anime-ish art style that feels evocative of something out of Hayao Miyazaki's Studio Ghibli, like Princess Mononoke, but it's also, like I said, it's very simple, but it's also in some ways very advanced because it can convey a lot of emotion both in terms of gameplay and story. Like, it can cover a lot of range. Musically speaking, this game is also just brilliant. Unlike past Zelda games where there'd be these really bombastic, epic sounds whenever you go out into Hyrule Field, for instance, Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, this game has much more nuanced, atmospheric style to its music, with lots of minimal piano notes that play here and there. I think this is brilliant and really makes the game far more immersive and atmospheric than it would have been otherwise, and this might be the most atmospheric and immersive game I've ever played. Like, there were times where I forgot I was even playing a video game. So the gameplay in Breath of the Wild is absolutely terrific. It's flawless, it's perfect, it's the best gameplay I've ever experienced in a single-player action-adventure game. The controls in this game are perfect. They're very tight, very fluid. They really do feel like an extension of your own hand. Like, you can literally bounce a dime off the controls and you get loose change. They're that good that you'll never have an issue with the controls in this game. You might have an issue because you do something stupid, which I did a lot, but it never feels like the controller's fault. Combat in this game is probably the best of any Zelda game, if not any open-world action-adventure game, period. Specifically because you can approach it in so many different ways. You can approach it head-on, like sort of in past Zelda games, although unlike past Zelda games, the enemy AI is really smart, and you actually will die quite a bit, especially early on in the game if you go up against too many enemies at once. Or you can, act stealthily, kill an enemy when they're distracted or sleeping. You can take them out from afar with your bows and arrows. You can, use your runes, which I'll get to in a minute, to create bombs out of thin air and throw it at them and explode. Or you can, blow up perils and just watch them go, bah! Such a satisfying feeling. And speaking of, combat, the weapon variety in this game is more than any other Zelda game past. You have not just swords, a lot of swords, but you can use axes and spears and bows and sticks and long swords, broadswords, claymores, fire rods, lightning rods, the whole shebang. And of course, the weapons in this game do break after being used substantially, which I think adds a lot of strategy to the gameplay from a combat standpoint, because it makes you think, how do I want to approach this combat situation? Which weapons do I want to use? Which ones do I want to risk losing right now? Do I want to save them? Do I want to, just use my bows and arrows? Do I want to try to avoid this combat situation altogether? It really does make you pick your battles very carefully, and when you do pick your battles, it makes you think, how do you want to approach these battles? But the most impressive aspect of the gameplay is really the non-linearity of this game. It really does feel like Zelda Unshackled, whereas past Zelda games were all really excellent, but they definitely felt held back by technological constraints of the times or what have you. But like in this game, you can basically go anywhere and do whatever you want. You see a cliff that leads up to a mountain, you can climb it. You see a river, you can go into it, you can swim in it. You see a big tower, you can climb that tower, you can glide off of it. And it really just adds a sense of euphoria that I don't think I've felt in a game in years. I don't think I've had this much fun, been this addicted to a single player game in years, if not ever. Like, even Ocarina of Time, or Mario Galaxy, Metroid Prime, like, even those games, like, I don't think I was quite as invested as I was with this game. Like, I could not put this game down from start to finish. So in this game, there are 4 main dungeons known as the Divine Beasts. Now, the dungeons in this game are different from past Zelda games, because in past Zeldas it felt like you always had to play by the dungeon's rules, like get a key, do this and that, fight the boss, which was fun, but definitely in recent Zelda games it got a little repetitive. But in this game, no, you make the dungeons play by your rules. Basically, you find ways to manipulate them from the inside. Now, though there are only 4 main dungeons, there's more than like 100 mini dungeons known as shrines, called Sheikah shrines. And basically within these shrines you'll sometimes be fighting many like guardians, or you'll be solving puzzles. Now some of these puzzles are some of the most mind-bending and ingenious I've ever experienced. They're just a lot of fun. And furthermore, just getting to like the shrines and dungeons feels like a puzzle in and of itself. And of course the boss fights at the end are really fun. I'm not going to spoil it, but like the final boss is just monumentally epic. Now, the other aspect I want to talk about quickly in this game, which is a big component, are the runes. Basically, Link has a Sheikah slate, which kind of acts like a tablet. Basically, you can like create remote bombs out of thin air. You can basically use magnesis to like push, pull, or lift hunks of metal, making Link like Magnesis from the X-Men, which is super awesome. You can like create ice blocks out of water, basically, and use them as platforms, which is called Cryonis. And you can even freeze time. Like, you can freeze time, and later on you can upgrade some of these abilities to become even more powerful. And you even get like a camera later in the game that you can use to take pictures. There's just so much to do in this game outside of just the main quest. There's mini games you can do. You can like literally snowboard on your shield, which is amazing. You can ride your horse around Hyrule to your heart's content. Speaking of which, getting horses is so fun in this game. Like, you can steal them from bokoblins, you can tame them, and it really just feels like your horse because you got it and you tamed it. The gameplay in this game is just so incredible. There's so many side quests you can do. You can even have your own house in this game. And of course you can play around with cuckoos. Now if there's any downsides to this game, it is purely technical. I played the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild. I'm definitely getting the Switch version soon when I get a Switch. And I did notice there were a few like frame rate drops in times where like I was fighting a horde of enemies, like I hit a big moblin, and it paused for like almost like a second. And that's something I noticed a few times. It definitely wasn't a big deal. And that's really the only thing about this game that I noticed that was an issue. Like, I basically have no flaws with this game. This game is perfect to me. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a video game that, if you're a gamer, you cannot afford to not own this game in your library. You need this game. If you have a Nintendo Switch or a Wii U, this of course is a game you absolutely must have in your library. It is essential. And even if you don't own one of those consoles, I'd honestly recommend getting one just to play this masterpiece. It really is, I think, the best Zelda game ever made. It's my favorite Zelda game. It's one of the best games ever. do yourself a favor and go play this game. I just can't recommend this game highly enough. It has everything that I think makes gaming so awesome, whether it be a magnificent story, flawless gameplay, beautiful, magical world, music, awesome characters. This game has it all. And of course, I'm more than happy to give The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild a perfect 5 out of 5. If you've never played a Legend of Zelda game before, I think this game might be the one to get you started. I think it'll bring you on board. With that said, thank you so much for watching this review. I had a lot of fun making it. I hope you have a lot of fun watching it. Peace out.